Did you hear that there was a bit of a political earthquake in Texas? In the Democrat Senate primary in the Lone Star State, State Representative James Talarico has defeated Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett. Thank you, Texas. Jasmine Crockett, the progressive firebrand, the cable news regular, one of the loudest and most visible critics of President Donald Trump, has lost her bid for the U.S. Senate. Now, this is according to the Associated Press. Talarico, 36 years old, has become the Democrat nominee for the U.S. Senate in Texas. And that means he'll face either Senator John Cornyn or Attorney General Ken Paxton, depending on how that Republican runoff shakes out in May. Now, let's step back for a second here. Texas has not elected a Democrat to the U.S. Senate in nearly 4 decades. 4 decades. So if you're a Democrat, this race is about more than personality. It's about whether your party can finally crack what has been a very red statewide map. And if you're a Republican, this is one of those midterm battlegrounds that could determine the control of the U.S. Senate. The GOP currently holds 53 to 47 majority. A handful of races nationwide could tip the balance, and Texas is one of those. Now, here's what makes this fascinating. Miss Crockett had the name recognition. She had the national media presence. She had endorsements, including former Congressman Colin Allred. She had the progressive activist base. She had celebrity energy, even Cardi B jumping in with an endorsement at one point. But Talarico had something very different. He had the money, he had the momentum, and a carefully crafted image as a faith-driven progressive who could appeal beyond the activist left. And according to Miss Crockett, who can't imagine why she could possibly lose, by the way, unless, of course, it was the Republicans. Those nasty old Republicans have targeted her, she said, and they hopped over to the Democrat primary and voted for her opponent. Here's her announcement on the night of the election.
Knowing that Dallas County is a big dump of votes.
Yeah, for you, girl.
We, in my opinion, will not know the election results overall tonight. We need to see the Dallas County votes to see where they are.
For sure.
I mean, if the early vote comes in, which we may have the early vote soon, if it comes in and I'm losing Dallas County, then we know kind of where this thing is going. So that's my news, is that we're not going to have election results tonight, in my opinion, based upon what specifically is taking place in Dallas County.
Whenever you win, girl.
Unfortunately, this is what Republicans like to do.
Yeah.
And so they specifically targeted Dallas County, and I think we all know why.
Yes, we do, girl.
So, I want you to enjoy yourselves, but I won't be back tonight because I have no idea of when we're going to get results, and I fully anticipate it won't be until tomorrow.
Now, of course, with Jasmine Crockett, it's always someone else's fault because she shouldn't have lost. No way. No way would the Democrats want to defeat a loudmouth, nasty Democrat who embarrassed their party every time she opened her mouth. As for the GOP voters crossing over, they had their own important primary with the heated race between Senator John Cornyn and Attorney General Ken Paxton. So why would they have wanted to vote in the Democrat primary to begin with? It's always an excuse with someone like Jasmine Crockett. All right, so who is James Talarico? He's a former middle school teacher, a Presbyterian seminarian. He talks openly about his Christian faith shaping his policy views. That's not something you hear every day from rising stars in the Democrat Party. He also built a massive social media presence. TikTok videos with millions of views, appearances on the Joe Rogan podcast, cable news interviews, even that dust-up with Stephen Colbert after his interview was reportedly moved off broadcast TV and onto YouTube. His campaign says that controversy alone brought in $2.5 million in 24 hours. That's modern politics in 2026. Viral moment equals fundraising spike. But this race wasn't clean, not even close. In the final stretch, it got kind of ugly. Race became a central issue, as it always does when you have Jasmine Crockett in the mix. An influencer accused Talarico of describing Colin Allred as a mediocre black man. Talarico pushed back hard, saying that he criticized campaign strategy, not race. Allred publicly responded. Crockett weighed in. Lines were drawn. Then Crockett accused a pro-Talarico super PAC of darkening her skin tone in an ad, calling it straight up racist. Again, she loves to play the race card. And on primary day, voting chaos in Dallas and Williamson County. Confusion, legal battles over extending polling hours. The Texas Supreme Court stepped in. Votes after closing the time ordered to be separated. Ms. Crockett alleging disenfranchisement. Talarico also speaking out against what he called voter suppression. This was not a quiet primary, and yet in the end, Talarico wins. In his not quite victory speech before the race was officially called, he said, "Tonight our campaign is shocking the nation." He may not be wrong on that, because this result signals something important inside the Democrat Party. Ms. Crockett represents the combative, high-profile, cable news-ready wing of the party. Talarico represents a different style, still progressive. He's still liberal. He still wants to give the country away, but softer spoken, faith-infused, heavy on media strategy and coalition language. And Democrats clearly decided they want to try something different in Texas. Now, the big question, can he win statewide? Remember, Texas is not Austin. It's not just not just Dallas. It's not just Houston. Statewide elections there require crossover appeal, suburban strength, turnout discipline, and a message that doesn't just energize the base but reaches independents and some of those more mediocre Republicans, if you will. Not supposed to use that term, mediocre, I guess. Talarico argues that he's flipped a red district before. He says he knows how to win over Republican voters. He dramatically outraced Crockett in the final months of the race. He presents himself as the underdog outsider taking on the establishment. But he's also aligned with Democrats who fled the state last year to block redistricting back by President Donald Trump and the Republicans. That move energized progressives and infuriated conservatives. So, make no mistake, this general election will be a heavyweight fight on the Republican side. You've got Senator John Cornyn or Ken Paxton, whoever ends up getting the nomination. He's facing, Senator Cornyn is facing a bruising runoff against Attorney General Paxton, who has his own loyal following and a national profile as well. So whoever survives that runoff will be a battle-tested conservative candidate. And for the stakes, control of the Senate, if Republicans hold Texas, they keep breathing room. If Democrats somehow flip it, that changes the math nationally. But here's the broader takeaway. The Democrat Party in Texas just rejected its most nationally recognizable progressive in favor of a younger, media-savvy, faith-forward candidate with crossover branding. That tells you that they understand something there in Texas. They know Texas is not California. They know that viral cable news moments don't necessarily translate into statewide wins. And they know that if they're going to compete seriously, they have to adjust the tone. Now, whether that adjustment is enough, that's a different conversation, because in Texas, history is long. The electorate is stubborn, and Republican turnout machines are strong too. So buckle up. The Democrat primary may be over, but the real fight is just beginning. And if you care about who controls the United States Senate next year, keep your eye on Texas, because what happens there won't stay in Texas for sure. If you found value in this video, please like, comment, and be sure and subscribe. Just hit that subscribe button. Turn on notifications. Until next time, remember, God's got this. He's still in control.